Glad you have Andrew here. So are we. What's his experience getting into ROR?
I was working at a company as a design intern because I had been writing Java. I was in a computer school for computer science at the time, and I was writing a lot of Java. And I hate Java. I have very dark feelings about Java. Writing Java, those times of my life, spending all night writing Tetris games in Java. So lots of like feelings around that time of my life that are like don't want to go there, right? Without help. So I was miserable writing all this Java, and I'm like, maybe I don't want to be a programmer, right? And I had known that I wanted to work with computers from a very young age, right? Like I had always liked working with computers. I always wanted to be a programmer. And like I like in high school, I knew I wanted to come do computer science. So like, but it was at that point I was like, man, I'm kind of miserable. Like I don't like doing this. Maybe VR development is more like something I could do, because at that point they had never at this point not introduced web development to me. I don't know how much money in the hole I'm at in this computer science degree, but like web development was an uncovered topic at this point. Um, so I discovered web development on my own, and I was like, holy crap, I could make money. Like, because I figured out like I knew a little bit of HTML already, but like I started getting into it. And like, at that time it was like the gulp kind of build systems were very popular, bootstrap very popular. And I was like, I can make money doing this. Like, because people have crappy websites and I could figure out how to do this and make money, and that will be, I'll do it as a side business. So I started learning more HTML, and then I was like, I can write the websites now, and they look like crap. So I got an internship at a company as a designer, as a graphic designer. I didn't know anything about graphic design, but I wanted to learn how to make better design so that I could be a better web designer. And it was while I was there, um, they had an internal tech team. They build like back end tooling for the company, and someone on the tech team needed something built, and all the developers were too busy. And somehow, somewhere, some way, they heard through the grapevine that me sitting with all the other designers knew HTML. So they came running in one day and they're like, "You know HTML?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Come with me. I got a job for you." And so at that point, I then worked with that individual very closely on several other projects. I think he was very key to me getting hired as an intern. So the following semester, I was brought on as a intern for their programming team, and they write Rails apps. So that's where I first learned and got into Ruby on Rails. And that was in 2018. So 3 years ago, 4 years ago, however long it was. What year are we in? Does it matter anymore?
I who knows? So I kind of gave up after 2020.
So I have a side question related to that. At what point in your computer science degree did they start covering test driven development, or the concept of having tests with your programs?
I never heard the term test driven development in my undergraduate Bachelor of Science degree in computer science.
Bastards.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can write Java. But here's the best part is that I didn't understand object-oriented programming, right? Because I had been taking Java and Visual Basic and Python and all this other stuff since high school. And I still didn't understand object-oriented programming until I understood what an adder reader was. And all of a sudden, I was like, I get getters and setters now. All of a sudden, it all rolled in. And I was like, I understand now why in Java you have to do all this stuff. And like, it just does it in Ruby. Why is anyone writing Java? Like I know now why. But it was at the time, it made me angry. It made me upset. It made me not go to the class really for the rest of the semester. Because I was like, at my internship, I'm learning how to be a developer. And then I'm having to like leave my internship and come here. And you're trying to teach me how to use PHP 5. And so here's where I see like this large disconnect and where I should be focusing my time and energy, right? And so I was like, how about I just stop writing PHP? And then I had a database course, a web applications course. Yeah, it was PHP 5. There's like, we learned how to write a little bit of SQL, like, and our final project had to have a where statement and a select statement and a like thing, and all these other things. So I gave my teacher a printout of the Rails development log, and I was like, here are my queries in my app, and I sent her the Rails app, and she's like, okay, well, I guess you're done. And that was it. No PHP.
Nice.
Yeah, I never did test driven, never wrote a single test in anything ever. No Java tests. I don't even know what people write Java tests in. No Python testing, no nothing, no tests, no Ruby, no HTML really. Just like they kind of expected you to kind of know it, which was interesting. Yeah, just kind of a waste of time.
I mean, I don't think it's so bad that you didn't learn a particular language or you learned some other language, because I mean, that's understandable. But I'm still
I had to learn
surprised.
COBOL.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I wrote Fortran 77, so that's what I was doing.
Yeah. Ugh.
I mean, hopefully they can update the courses periodically, but at least something that's become so central to being a software engineer today in terms of writing tests that's not covered.
That concept should be taught.
Unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I got lucky because I was able to get a really good course in project management from like an old project manager, retired, but just, teaching at this point. Like I could literally now rewind him back 20 years and see him like there, like in the moment, like doing this. So he came in one of the first days and he's like, all you guys sitting here, because at that point I was a senior. It's like my senior seminar class. They're like, all you guys in here think you're just going to go to these companies and they're going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars to write code, and you're just going to sit by yourself alone and you don't have to work with any people. And I'm sitting in the audience like, yeah, that's going to be my life. And I'm excited for it. And he's like, and I'm here to tell you that's wrong. And I was like, no, no. And that's when I learned that programming is mostly communication, right? So there were aspects of, my 4-year education that weren't a total waste of time. And like, I feel like I learned so much. My minor is criminal justice, and I learned so much about that. So like, it wasn't a total waste of time. But when I look at my buddy who went to boot camp, and then I look at me, like I would have done much better in a boot camp because I'm very ADHD. I'm very project oriented. I'm very, I'm a bit obstinate, resistant to like, someone's like, yeah, just do this. And I'm like, but there doesn't seem to be any point to this, right? You're telling me to do this thing, but like, why do I have to do this thing? And they can't give me a good reason why. I'm like, all right, ADHD on, brain off. Now let's go do something else. So I feel like a boot camp would have been where I would have thrived a bit more, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.